Hey everyone, my name is Raj. I am a fourth year medical student who will be applying pediatrics this coming cycle. I'm super pumped to be a pediatrician in training, and I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a brief introduction as to why I created this YouTube channel, what the purpose of it is, and a couple inspiration points along the way. So my main motivation for creating this YouTube channel was kind of really out of boredom. I felt like I kind of been slacking on my hobbies recently, and I thought, hey, might as well make a YouTube channel. I'm chronically on YouTube Shorts, and I think there's a lot of great creators who I think inspire me. One big inspiration for me has been Dr. Conan Liu. He is an internal medicine doctor who does a lot of YouTube content creation, medical education videos for medical students, residents, even attending physicians. I think his stuff is absolutely amazing in the internal medicine field, and I kind of was looking at his videos and saw that there wasn't really a content creator geared toward pediatrics per se. Dr. Paul Tran, he's another big inspiration of mine. He's great in the pediatrics sort of realm, but I think I really wanted to create a channel unique to pediatrics, especially in the medical education realm. So that's a little bit about me. I want to hop into today's video, which is on developmental milestones. Developmental milestones are a critical, important concept to understand in pediatrics, especially as kids progress through their growth and development. These are sorts of things that we want to keep on our radar when we're evaluating kids for developmental delays. So with that being said, we'll hop into the video and I'll pull up the whiteboard. So hopefully I have my working face cam here, but there are four critical big groups of developmental milestones that we'll go over today. So the big four of developmental milestone groups. Here we have gross motor, fine motor, language, and social cognitive. Gross motor skills really have to do with big muscle groups, so moving our head, moving our neck, our trunk, and our extremities for daily ambulation is kind of what gross motor is. I like to define fine motor as sort of hands and fingers, those sorts of fine motor coordination that we do to maybe write or pick up objects. And then moving on to language, obviously this is important for speech and communicating with others. And then finally, social cognitive, how children interact with the world, how they're thinking, and how maybe how intelligent or not intelligent they may be in certain tasks. Okay, so hopefully this is clear, but we'll start with going down the months for our gross motor milestones. And one thing that I really want to highlight here, there's a great picture that I like to use to kind of talk about gross motor milestones, and I'll draw it here. So here we have our stick figure drawing, and I'll kind of draw a line here at the beginning, at the neck area. Usually we like to see 3 months, at about 3 months we like to have milestones that are related to the neck muscles and the eyes as well. Next, moving on to 6 months, if we draw a line down by the trunk, those are trunk movements, back motions. Those are things that we like to see for gross motor milestones. At about 9 months, we like kids to crawl, so maybe involving their knees and other lower extremity muscles. And then finally, at about 1 year of age, we like children to be able to use their legs, be able to stand, potentially even walk. So as far as gross motor milestones, at the 2-month mark, we like to see that children are able to lift their head up. By 4 months, we like children to be able to roll over. And the one thing that I like to note for this one, it's easy to remember, is that kids in this age, they like doing tummy time. We want to put kids on their belly to strengthen those back and those neck muscles. So when we put kids on their tummy, they're able to roll from their tummy to their back a little bit quicker than they are to roll from, say, their back to their tummy. So think tummy time 4 months, tummy time 4 months, so they're rolling from their tummy to their back a little bit quicker than vice versa. Next, about 6 months of age, we like kids to be able to sit up with support, and then add another month for sitting without support. At 9 months, kids are typically crawling, and then by a year, we like kids to have maybe their first steps. They also will be able to cruise or pull up to stand. So this means they're using their environment to help pull them up and use those leg muscles to potentially ambulate around. By 2 years, being able to run, so you got to walk before you run. That's a good kind of mnemonic to know. 3 years, they're able to ride a tricycle or a trike, so think 3 years, ride a tricycle. By 4 years, they're able to hop on one foot. So imagine if you're on one foot, it kind of looks like a figure four. That's how I imagine it in my head. And then by age 5, they're able to skip. Think of a kindergartner on the playground skipping with their friends. Just zooming out here, we have our great diagram here, so don't forget this important key. So now moving on to fine motor movements. Remember, these are your fine, think hands, think fingers for these guys. So for 2 months, imagine children being able to track past the midline, so with their eyes, and then by 4 months being able to reach past midline. By 6 months, kids are able to transfer objects from hand to hand. And then by 9 months, they're able to do what's called a 3-finger pincer grasp. And also by a year, so now moving forward, they're able to do what's called a 2-finger pincer grasp. These are capabilities that allow children to pick up objects with their fingers, say a bottle, piece of food, toys, things like that. And then for 2 through 5, we're imagining things like drawing, so copying certain shapes or objects. And these are pretty easy to figure out, especially because there's good mnemonics to kind of go with them. But by 2 years of age, they're able to draw or copy parallel lines. So think 2 parallel lines, 2 years old. By 3 years of age, they're able to copy a circle. By 4 years of age, they're able to copy a cross. This is very similar to a 4. See, if you just do that, plus a little bit of line there, that's 4. And then by age 5, they're able to draw more complex shapes like triangles or squares. So next, moving on to language. Language is an important part of being able to communicate with others. Therefore, these are some milestones for language. I'd like to steal for a little bit from Dirty Medicine. He's also a YouTube medicine creator who has a really great language mnemonic to help know and understand the language milestones for kids. So now 2 months, think 2, think coo, 2, coo. It rhymes like that. And cooing sounds, if someone asks you, it's basically kind of like vowel sounds. So things like e, ooh, ooh, ooh. By 4 months, children are able to laugh. So say ha ha, 4 letters, 4 months. By 6 months, they're able to babble. So think 6 letters in babble, 6 months for their development. And these are more like consonant sounds, things like ba, 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 da, 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 and m, m, m. Now moving on to 9 months, think mommy, dada, that's 9 letters, 9 months. And then by a year of age, they're able to say about 1 additional word other than mama or dada. And then I added something in here, so take note here, this is 1.5 years old or 18 months. They're able to say roughly 20 to 25 words. The range is pretty variable here. It's not necessarily a good or bad thing if they're above this range or below this range, but I like to think of this in multiples of 25. So about at 1.5 years old, you have about 25 words, and then by 2 years old, you have about 50 words. Additionally, at the 2-year mark, we get 2-word phrases. 3 years, we get 3-word phrases. 4, we get 4-word phrases. And then by 5, we get 5-word sentences. And then one last thing that's important for kind of speech and understandability, essentially. So by 2 years of age, we like kids to be about 50% or 2/4 understandable. When it goes for 3 years old, we like them to be 75% or 3/4 understandable. And then finally, at 4 years of age, we hopefully like them to be 100% understandable. You're able to tell what they're saying by 4 years of age. So now moving on to social cognitive. So at about 2 months of age, we like to them have a social smile. So think you need 2 eyes for a smiley face, 1, 2. By 4 months, they're able to respond to sound. By 6 months, they have what's called stranger anxiety, so they're afraid of people that aren't their parents. By 9 months, they're able to respond to their name. By 1 year of age, they're able to follow a 1-step command like sit or go. By about 2 years of age, they're able to engage in what's called parallel play. So think 2 parallel lines, similar to the fine motor skills where we drew 2 parallel lines here. They're playing adjacent to another child, but not necessarily playing with the child. And then finally, by age 3, they're able to play with another child. So I hope this video was helpful for you to figure out, how to memorize and understand developmental milestones. It's a very critical, important concept, like I said, that we understand, especially in pediatrics, as kids are growing and progressing throughout their lives. So I appreciate you watching, and thanks so much.